Well, now this is awkward. The governor just said stay away from Hawaii. But we're already in Hawaii on vacation. For the record, we got here about a week before the governor of Hawaii requested that tourists voluntarily stay away from Hawaii because of COVID. Frankly, if he had made that announcement even the morning of our trip out here, my parents totally would have canceled. But we're here now, so I thought I'd give you an update on what travel is like in the islands right now from a tourist's point of view. And if you're still on the fence about whether or not to make your trip, maybe this might help you. Because this is my third trip to Hawaii, so I can actually compare this experience to my trips here before COVID came along. First, let me state the obvious. The governor says that COVID cases in Hawaii are spiking dramatically, and that's one of the reasons he wants tourists to stay away. Because we're on an island, so there aren't many ICU beds to go around. And when the ICUs and ERs and urgent care centers fill up with COVID cases, that means that if anything happens to you on vacation, whether it's a broken arm or a cut that needs stitches, or a case of strep throat, or heart attack or stroke or anything, you'll be waiting a lot longer for care than you normally would. And in some cases, that's the difference between life and death. It's not like it's easy to just transfer patients to another facility, so don't look at the number of COVID cases here and compare them to your own home state and think that you're better off in Hawaii. It really might not be the case. So that's the obvious reason to reconsider, just like the governor said. But what about the other things that I'm seeing here as a tourist that you really might not think of? Well, the vacation that you will have in Hawaii today is not the experience that you normally have here. This trip is a huge change from my other two trips. So far on this one, we've been on the Big Island and Oahu now, and they both are having the same issues. And I hear it's the same on all of the islands. Wait times for restaurants are crazy high, because capacity is so limited because of COVID restrictions. So you might be eating that dinner you're so hungry for a lot later than you'd like. Or you might just be going to the grocery store for food, because restaurants simply are too filled up. A lot of services are canceled completely or cut back. Things like shuttle buses or entertainment. And if you're trying to book a last-minute reservation to a luau or some snorkeling adventure, you will probably be out of luck, because we actually tried. In fact, we found that most of the popular things to do tend to get booked up about a month in advance here, depending on what it is. So please make sure you have those plans set in place before you get on that plane. You'll also find that a lot of menus are cut back. You'll probably only notice this difference if you've been here before like I have, but there definitely are changes. Also, they're having major staffing issues. That might be a problem you're seeing at your own local restaurants too, but here in Hawaii, it's even worse. And it's not just at restaurants. It's in all tourist-related industries, because a lot of staff had to leave the islands to find other work when the pandemic shut down their state completely. So the staffing shortage here is really, really bad. Don't get me wrong, the staff that we've encountered have been so kind and welcoming, and they totally have that famous spirit of aloha. But it's just that there aren't as many staff as there usually are, so please be patient with them. So if you're, say, calling the front desk or concierge with a question, that phone might be ringing for a crazy long time, as it was for us. In fact, we found that the only way to get help was to actually just walk down to the front desk in person. So again, please be patient and kind to staff in Hawaii, because they really are trying their best. Some of the restaurants are having limited hours on top of the limited capacity that is required because of COVID, since they just don't have the staff, or because it just might not be profitable enough to stay open for longer hours. Even my absolute favorite restaurant on the Big Island, Lava Lava Beach Club, cut out their lunch hours during our stay because the small staff they have right now were so overworked. So again, please be patient if you do come here, because they're all just trying to keep afloat the best that they can, and none of this is their fault. Another change we've seen is the way that hotels deal with housekeeping. Like in some cases, there simply won't be any during your stay, or it will only happen on certain days. Personally, I don't mind this. And in the 2 hotels we've stayed at, we have had the option to be able to at least call or text for a request for things like extra toilet paper if we ran out. But if you're one of those people who likes to have their bed made every day, then you might be disappointed. Can I just add a side note? If you do still come to Hawaii, please remember to leave a nice tip for housekeeping when you leave, because that's likely going to be the only tip they get, and you probably left them a big mess to clean up. Housekeeping staff works so hard, and they do it practically invisibly. So a lot of people don't leave them tips, especially now. Please be generous and don't forget to leave them a tip as you walk out of your hotel room for that last time. Another change you need to be ready for is that you'll be asked to wear your mask a lot. This is great news for me because I can walk around with my famous RBF all day and no one thinks anything of it. But if you don't like masks, then you're just going to run into a lot of conflict in Hawaii. So you really might want to steer clear right now if that's the case. So, should you cancel your vacation? Well, according to the governor, that would be a very firm yes. I mean, I'm just a 15-year-old kid, so you probably should consider his input a lot more than mine. But for me, I still had a great time in Hawaii. It wasn't as wonderful as my last 2 trips, though. But I'm not that concerned about that just because I know I'll be able to come back here again. But if this is a once-in-a-lifetime sort of thing for you, then yes, I hate to tell you, but you really might want to wait until this pandemic is over. Because if this had been my first trip here, I'm not sure I would have wanted to come back. Let me be really clear about one thing though. A lot of people are out there saying that locals have been rude to tourists lately or that they were made to feel unwelcome. Maybe some people are having that experience, but we haven't run into that at all. The people here are as friendly and welcoming to me as they have ever been. In fact, we found them to be more appreciative than ever. So please, if you do come to Hawaii, remind yourself that this pandemic and all of the effects of it are not their fault. Pack your patience and spirit of aloha, and be generous to the people who are working so hard to try to make your vacation a great experience, despite these difficult times. And if that's going to be a challenge for you, please postpone your trip for a time when things are a little more normal over here. Mahalo for watching, and hit that like button, and please subscribe. And an extra thank you for the 1,000 subscribers I finally hit while I've been here in Hawaii. That made my vacation even more special. Stay safe and healthy, everyone. Aloha!